Hey guys, today I want to talk about four types of properties that I found when I was in Maine looking for my homestead, and a couple scenarios that I think you want to kind of think about. Four types of properties I definitely think you want to think about, so come along. And if you stick around to the end, there's one little piece of tidbit that I think you really want to know about. Just making sure they got a little bit of snacks while I'm out here, because if I don't give them something, they're not happy. Hey guys, I had a couple people ask me in my family and friends and coworkers, why I wanted to move to Maine. And there's just something about the place that I like. Um, I can't figure it all out, but I think one of the reasons why was a couple years ago, I think a song came out by Cody Johnson, and it was called Till You Can't. And I just turned 56, and I was thinking about that song a couple years ago about all the things you can do until you can't. And I think one of the main things in the song that really hit me hard was he said, you got to chase your dreams because your dreams won't chase you back. And I was like, wow. So I kind of knew that I wanted to move somewhere. I kind of knew I wanted a homestead. I definitely wanted a better place for my hens. So those lines of that song, those lyrics, you got to chase your dreams because your dreams won't chase you back. So I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to start looking to find a place to homestead. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to tell you today seems pretty self-explanatory. And then when I went out there, it really opened my eyes about some of the options that you'd have when you're out, looking for homesteading places to live in Maine. So I thought I'd make a video about it because I think there is some key differences between the four. And once you go out there, it'll help you understand and know, what you need to do to really hone in on what kind of homestead you're really looking for. So what a lot of people do is they go and they look for land. And I've looked for land too. But if you're just looking for land, then, well, where are you going to live? And how long is it going to take you to build a house? And what kind of house you're going to have? But even in just looking at land, there's a lot involved with that. And the size of the land that you want. I mean, there's just so many options there. I'm looking for at least 40 acres. But really, in my heart of hearts, I'd like to have about 70. And so that's what I'm kind of looking for, between 40 and 70 acres. Now, there's two types of land. There's land that's not been treed, so no trees have been cut down in a number of years. And then there's land that has had the trees cut down, and there's differences between the two. Obviously, if they haven't cut any trees down, then you have to do that, and you have to make inroads into the property. You have to make your own driveways and your own paths to places where you might put a house. If you buy a piece of land that's already been treed, then a lot of times there is roads that was already made by the foresting company that was cutting down the trees. They make a lot of roads, so you already have that. So it's like, do you want to do that or do you not want to do that? Now, there's money to be made if you can buy a piece of property that's not been treed, but now waiting for the company to get in there and do the job, which takes months, and to get done, that's something to think about. And if it's already been treed, did they put the roads in the way you kind of wanted them? Or are you left with a mess of a whole bunch of paths and roads going through the property, and they didn't take very good care of it? And there's a lot of ruts and things. So there's a lot of things to think about just in that two options alone. Do I want to buy land that's been treed, or do I want to buy land that has not been treed? So that's something to think about. Now, Maine has a tax credit that you can get that they call tree growth. So if you buy a property and you say it's 100 acres and you say, I'm going to leave 90 in tree growth and I'm going to cultivate 10. So I'm going to clear 10, but the other 90 I'm going to leave in tree growth. Then you get a tax break on that. Now, I think you can buy a piece of land where it's grandfathered into tree growth. I believe that you can. But I think if it isn't, then I think you have to either be a Maine resident or you have to live on that property for a year to get entitled for that credit. But it's worth having, because what they're trying to do is obviously keep the state beautiful with all those trees that they have, and that's one of the things that allures us there. It's just so beautiful, and there's so many amazing trees and forest. So the second type of property I found is property that's either intact or it's been treed, or and it has a cabin on it. Now, the cabin generally doesn't have any improvements on it. There's no well, there's no septic, there's no electric coming to the property. It's just a cabin, and that you can live in, but it, like I said, doesn't have any improvements. And you have your land, and your land may or may not have had its trees removed and cut down, or they don't remove all the trees, they remove a selective bunch of the trees, but it may or may not have that done. So it may or may not have a very long driveway that's going into the property. It could, but not always. There's a lot of variations, but for the most part, you're going to buy land that's with or without a cabin. So you got to figure out, kind of what your exact needs are, and then kind of move forward with that. It's a lot to think about, and the more I've been there, the more I go up there, the more questions I seem to have. So the third type of property you're going to run into, I call it a specialty property. There's nothing special in it about its size, or it has trees or doesn't have trees, but what it usually has is some improvements on it. I saw a particular property where the cabin had burned down, but it had electric and it had a well, and that property went within a couple weeks, because that's special. Those having a well, having a septic, having electricity ran from the road up into the property is costly. So that's why I kind of call it a specialty property. And a lot of people look for those because they really ultimately want to build their own cabin. But it's kind of nice if you can pull your travel trailer up onto a piece of land that already has electric, or at least a well, or septic, so you can connect your travel trailer up to that. So that's why I call them specialty properties. Now, the fourth type of property I'm going to call turnkey, because there's a cabin on it. You got your woods. It may have been treed, may not have been, but it's got a driveway. It's probably got electric run to it, or there's a solar system that they have there with lithium batteries. There's a well, there's a septic system. So it's kind of turnkey. You literally just move in, kind of like any community you would see in any state that you're in. So there's some of those. Now, those properties are going to be more expensive. They're generally going to be up in the 200 to 300,000s. The other properties you're going to buy, just land or with a small cabin, you're going to get for well under 200,000. So if you're looking for turnkey, then you're going to have to look for a property that costs a little more, that has a house or a cabin that has everything that you want in it. And there's a lot of options. But I wanted to highlight a couple of these options today, just to let you know these are some of the things that I've kind of run into. She's always quiet when I put the camera in her face. But anyway, those are the four types of properties that you're going to see mostly when you're looking for homesteading in Maine. You're going to find land in various types of states. You're gonna find land with a cabin on it. You might find some specialty properties that has a well or a septic or something like that on it, or electric run to it. And then you're gonna find your regular kind of turnkey move-in properties. There's other properties, but these are the four major ones that I've kind of seen and I've been kind of looking for to see if I can find my homesteading property in Maine.
What? What's wrong? What's wrong? I'm right here. What's wrong? What's wrong? All right.
So I was asked a question by one of my subscribers, why not stay where you are, continue living here in Maryland? So I just was like, okay, let me see what 20 acres of land cost, if you can even find that. And I did find a couple of them, maybe about 10 or 15 of them. And the base cost was $120,000. And most of those were not nice squares or rectangles. A lot of those had triangles and kind of odd borders to the property. Some of the nicer properties, one was 40 acres for $169,000. Some people wanted even more than that. Now, yes, I can find more land, but I think one of the main reasons I want to leave is the heat. The summers are hard on me. I don't like them. 95 plus degrees, 95 plus humidity. I don't want that no more. I'm not looking for that. Plus, there's a lot of people here. A lot of people. I was driving down in Maine. I was driving from Lincoln up to Holton on 95. And I couldn't believe that I could drive on an interstate road during a weekday and there just wasn't any cars. You can't get that here. You just cannot get that here. So one of the reasons I want to move up there is to find a lot more cooler weather, a lot more peace. Don't want to be away from everybody. I just want to be a lot less people, and I want it to be cooler. And I actually do like the snow a lot, so that's why. Hey guys, one final thing I want to keep in mind is easements. You know, make sure you read the contract of anything you buy. Make sure you get a survey of the land. Make sure you've talked with the county. Ask your realtor. Make sure you understand what easements are on that property. That's really important. I was particularly looking at one property, and the driveway and the well was on the other person's property, but I had an easement. Sometimes you'll get properties that are split in half, and people can drive right through your property. So part of your property is on one side of the road and part of your property is on the other side of the road. So you need to really look into easements when you're buying properties to make sure that you know exactly what's going to be coming through your property or what's exactly yours. So I would highly recommend you looking into any easements. And if you have questions, make sure you talk to the local folks at the local government there to talk about, you know, what kind of rights you have or don't have with your easements. So guys, I hope this helped a little bit. Please leave any comments or questions that you have. You guys who live in Maine, correct anything that I may have said it's, you know, not right. So guys, thank you so much. Thank you for all my new subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much. Take care, guys. I hope you're happy and I hope you're healthy. Take care and God bless.